Well, hello, everybody. First off, I want to thank everybody for joining us today and our first technical presentation. So that we're launching, we'll be doing these every month, and we have a series that will be starting soon. Okay. All right, I think I'll go ahead and start. So my name is Devon Felise. I'm the Director of Sales for Suprema. And today's talk, we're going to review some technology and how we are saving with face, specifically with the BioStation 3. As a quick intro to myself, I've been with Suprema now for approximately 1 year, and I have a fairly strong background in biometrics specifically, both in the contactless as well as what you call touch like a traditional fingerprint, as well as a very strong access control background as well. And how this presentation is going to go is I'll provide a quick review of who is Suprema. I think it's always good to understand the purpose of a manufacturer and kind of what they're trying to achieve in our space, and then that helps the product make sense. Then I'll go ahead and go into the review of our BioStation 3 and then how we can provide an excellent ROI with that solution. So Suprema was founded in 2000. It is a publicly traded company out of South Korea. We now have feet on the street, I think in about 130 countries now. And when they ran an estimate last year, approximately 50 million systems installed. And then because we are made in South Korea, for those customers that do care, we are NDA compliant. The product I'll be talking about today is going to be our facial biometric, but keep in mind, this is our third generation of product, right? So we really know what we're doing when it comes to this kind of technology. And then from a company focus, we're all about the technology around the door or gate. How can we make it easy and fast and secure for our employees and customers to get into their facilities, right? And then as a proof of concept, we are actually fairly well known for our biometrics and very well known for our fingerprint technology as well. Just high performance, it's fast, secure, and typically works with hard to read fingerprints. So because of that, Samsung has been using our fingerprint technology in their devices, phones and tablets since 2017, and continue to use us every year with each new generation of product. But let's go ahead and dive into the topic of the day. So in general, when we're dealing with our customers, whether it's residential all the way up to some of our Fortune 50 companies, global customers, what are they asking for? And the other part of that customer is also their integrators. So there's three subjects there. So we have what the integrators are looking for in a product, there's what the end user leadership is looking for in a technology, and then there's also the employees. What do they want to see when they see the kind of security technology rolled out? I'm going to focus on the end user and kind of what they're looking for. So in general, the employees, they just want to be able to get in quick and easy. They want really easy throughput, right? They don't want to be stuck at a turnstile trying to do a fingerprint, right? They want to be able to get into work fast and easy. It needs to be easy to use. It can't be complicated. And then they are, especially when it comes to biometrics, they're worried about the privacy. So how are we keeping their confidential information in their biometrics safe? And then a pain point for all biometrics has been historically enrollment. How do we make it easy for them to enroll? From a leadership perspective, the owners of those companies breaks into two sections. What are they looking for in a product, and what are they looking for as a partner company like Suprema? So from a product perspective, they're also looking for privacy, right? So they're held liable for the privacy of their employees. They're much more focused on security and keeping those facilities secure. They want options because they have doors, gates, turnstiles, even elevators, all perhaps within the same facility. So you need flexibility in the solution. Many of our customers are looking for multi-factor options embedded in the same technology, so they don't want to have to buy separate devices. For example, a card reader right next to a fingerprint reader. it needs to be able to work with their system they have in place already. They probably already have access control, especially on the enterprise side of the business. We need to be able to work with their solution without having to replace. And then enrollment, not only is it a challenge for the employees, but it's also a logistical challenge for the managers of the facility, and speed, right? They don't want bottlenecks. They want people to get in and out of their facilities quick and easy. From a partner perspective, what are we finding end users looking for? Well, they want a vendor that's stable, right? So there's a lot of very, very young startup companies out there that are just getting the first technology out there. A lot of those companies come and go over the years, and a lot of these larger integrated or large end users, they know that, right? So they're a little hesitant with some of the new companies. And we've been around for 23 years. They need support, whether it's easy questions all the way up to engineering support, as well as maybe some advanced custom work. There needs to be value in the products that their partner provides, and there needs to be an ROI. So if they want to start doing business with Suprema, what's the ROI on our technology? Okay. I am happy to say that we meet all the requirements from both the end user employees as well as the leadership, specifically with one product. So let's talk about facial authentication. As I mentioned earlier, I've worked with multiple biometrics over the years. There's really top three that kind of come into play. And by far, the biometric that I have found the easiest to work with has been Suprema's facial authentication systems. Extremely fast. You walk up, look at it from a distance. Participation is low. I generally have to look in the right direction, and it unlocks the door securely. What are we doing that's a little different? First off, there have been some pretty significant challenges with facial biometrics historically. The top three fall into the following categories. The first one by far, though, is going to be lighting. Lighting has always been an issue with facial biometrics. Too light, too bright, too dark. If there's any kind of shadows across the face, darker complexions don't reflect light as well. You combine all of those into a system, and it can be really challenging for many facial biometrics out there today even. So that's the first issue. The second issue is facial biometrics has historically been the easiest biometric to spoof. Just recently, I was at ISC West, and I had an integrator come in and asked to enroll and show a selfie to our technology to see if they could get in. And of course, they couldn't. And they said that they went to other vendors at ISC West this year, and they could get in with a picture, right? So that's the second challenge. And then the third one is the facial biometric is the one biometric that can actually change over time. Iris and fingerprint can be damaged, but they typically don't change, but the face can. So what are we doing differently? First off, we use an AI-based algorithm. So we're actually doing a full image match between the person who's standing there and the template versus the traditional mapping of dots and angles of the face. Combine that with the fact that we have two cameras on there. We have an IR camera and a white light camera. You combine those three things together, and we don't really care about the lighting so much. We can really be installed in any lighting situation. I have heard of other outdoor rated devices, but we are one of the only ones I know that actually is outdoor rated and works outdoors. And we have now for almost 4 years now been selling product and installing them outdoors. And since most access control doors are to get inside the building or through a gate, it's been a big limitation, right, that we don't have. We perform very well in those outdoor environments. That's a big one. Second, from a spoofing perspective, those two cameras use what's called fusion matching, something we have patented, where we actually fuse an IR or a heat map image on top of the white light image, the standard image. So if someone approaches and they don't have the matching heat map overlaid on top of the white light image, we recognize it as, we see the face, but we don't recognize it as a valid image. So you can show a selfie to it, but it won't let you in. So anti-spoofing is one of our strongest features of our solution set. And the third one, because we do an AI-based matching system, we actually look at your biometrics. So if your biometric starts to drift over time, let's say you're losing weight and getting more fit and putting more angles on your face, we'll actually update your image with you, and your template will drift with your biometric. So we'll keep it up to date. If any of our attendees have dealt with biometrics, there's a couple statistics that we'll typically mention in the performance of our solution: false reject rate and false accept rate. False reject rate is a little circumspect, but the false accept rate is mathematical. So what are the odds of your face template looking like somebody else's? At the highest security level, ours is at 1 in 10 billion. And that's because we don't do a template. We're actually doing a full face image match with our AI. So even at the lower security settings where we have extremely high throughput, we're still talking about 1 in a billion false accept rate. It's extremely fast and extremely secure. And then to address the main issue with enrollment, biometrics has traditionally always been challenging to enroll. Even with our fingerprint readers, I still need you to show up and put your finger on a fingerprint reader, whether it's our enrollment reader or a device. You still have to show up in person and do it. There's really only one way to enroll many of the biometrics out there. So we have 4 ways we can actually use now with our facial authentication system. We can do the traditional way where you will show up and stand in front of one of our devices, and through the software, an admin can enroll you real quick. It takes about half a second. It's fast. The second way is, if you look at the device on the picture, I can actually, as an admin, walk in and log into that device out in the field and then enroll somebody while standing there. So I don't need to have a computer running. And when I enroll them in an edge device, it can then be pushed out to all the other devices that you have on that site. The third way is you can just send me a selfie. And for your initial template, I can upload that as your enrollment template. And then the first time you show up, it'll make a more complex fusion match based template. So you don't even have to show up now. You can just send me a picture, right? So if you have contract workers or any other kind of visitors, you can enroll them pretty quick. The fourth way is pretty cool. So let's say you're a new customer of ours and you have 3,000 employees you're trying to enroll. That's 3,000 people showing up to enroll in person, or 3,000 selfies. What if we had the ability to import all employee names with an email address, click one button, select all, and then simply push them out a unique secure enrollment link, and from their own phone, they can enroll themselves. So from an administration perspective, you have 5 to 10 seconds of work to enroll everybody in your company, right? Now, not everybody wants to do all of those. I've had customers that simply refuse to do a remote enrollment link. You need to show up, show your ID, and then I'll enroll you. Others say, man, we have people all over the world, either at this residence or at this company. So I'm gonna go ahead and start that enrollment link. That's just amazing. So we give you options, right? And then the customer can figure out what they want to do. Last but not least, matching speed on the BioStation 3 is less than 0.2 seconds. So you can literally use this wherever you want, from turnstiles, gates, doors, high throughput. It's a walk and glance. It's extremely fast. So we've really worked hard on giving a very, very quick solution to make it easy to get into the facility. Let's get into the specifics of the BioStation 3. It's kind of hard to tell from the picture, but it is the size of a larger iPhone. It's a pretty small unit. This is our 3rd generation of facial authentication systems, and it is also a SIP video intercom. So I mentioned ROI earlier. So based on, and I don't want to sell on price, but simply based on the price point of our device as a touchscreen SIP intercom, by that, it is competitive. So once we add all the other things that it does as a facial authentication system, including the intercom, it's extremely competitive as a solution for customers. In fact, I'm getting a lot of calls right now simply on the SIP video intercom. Oh, and by the way, we'll use the facial system. So it is both an intercom and a facial authentication system. What other kind of technology do we have built into it? Well, it's a dual frequency card reader. So we can read EM and HID procs for low frequency. We can read MyFair, DesFire, HID, iClass cards. It supports mobile credentials from Suprema. It's a touchscreen, so I can do a keypad on it as an option. And then it also reads QR code. We literally read every kind of card technology, credential technology I'm aware of. So again, they have options, and they can be used in combination for dual or multi-factor authentication as well. Where can you install it? Well, it's IP65 rated, so install it outside for sure. And it does have a slight impact rating of IK06. Obviously, it won't take a brick to the screen, but it can definitely take some side damage, and it's a robust unit. One of the major advantages of the technology is what we call the NPU, or neural processing unit. So its big brother, which we released in 2019, looks very similar, just tablet sized. It is also an AI-based technology, but it's running on GPU. So if anybody's actually sold AI in the last few years or last 10 years, we've pretty much have selected GPU, graphical processing units, as the best fit processor for managing AI, just because it was what was available and it did it better than CPUs and other processors. But it's not ideal. A recent technology is called an NPU, which is specifically designed to run AI. It's much better than a GPU for running AI. It's approximately 60% faster and more efficient than a GPU-based processor for matching speed. Its older brother is running at about half a second matching speed, and this one's running less than 0.2 second matching speed. In addition, GPUs are expensive. They're high demand for multiple reasons. So the NPU is almost 30% less than the GPU, and it dropped the price. So we not only get better performance, but it costs less. It's definitely a win-win. Then how do we connect to this device? Well, it's definitely an Ethernet product. So however you install it, you need some kind of Ethernet communication to it. So it's going to be Ethernet hardwire, or we have the option for Wi-Fi. A lot of doors and gates, you have power nearby, but it's hard to get a network drop to that location, right? From an output perspective, Wiegand or OSTP. So we can go on any access control system. It's actually very common for us to go on products like Genetec, Linnell, Secure, S2. As an example of the list, there's quite a few. If they just really have any normal standard panel, we can wire up to it. Number of power options, everything from PoE to low voltage. And then as a communication coming out of it, it is also a recordable camera. So if you want to take the RTSP stream off that camera, drop that on NVR, and record everybody approaching the device. Now, this is pretty significant because typically the camera that looks at that location is looking down. So now you have the perfect 2 megapixel image coming straight off the camera into everybody's face. Last but not least, if you're using the Suprema access control software, so keep in mind that we can use this just for our biometrics, or we actually have a full line of access control products as well. If you're using the Suprema BioStar 2 access control software to manage your doors as well, you actually don't need a panel. The BioStation 3 has a built-in one-door access control panel already in there. So take advantage of that and save a couple bucks. So as a quick review of how the technology lays out, you have some choices here, right? So if you're using a third-party access control line, so you have your BioStation 3 here on the left, dropping off the network, and then Wiegand or OSTP into that third-party panel, and then managed by software. On the right side, you have a couple options using Suprema's BioStar 2 access control software, where you don't need that panel. It's embedded in it, and it manages the devices either directly or through a little secure I/O on the inside of the door. So either one. As a quick recap, if you consider all the real estate at a door, we looked at that and said, what can we do there? How can we get rid of all the product you can often see at a door and combine them into one unit? So we have a keypad, we have a mobile credential, we have a traditional reader, we have a surveillance camera, we have an intercom, we have a control panel, facial authentication system, QR code, all embedded in that one device. And it's a small, cute little unit, right? This is an amazing ROI on that solution. So as a recap, Our technology is packed with power. I mean, it's sleek, it's discreet, it's fast, it is multi-factor, it's a universal card reader, it does mobile credentials, QR code, recordable stream, intercom. We have that mobile enrollment option for easy implementation, no matter the size of customer, and it's secure with AES encryption, and we meet the ISO 27001 standards. That is the BioStation 3. With that said, I am now up for questions. Let me pull up that screen and see what we have. So one of the questions that came up is the Suprema solution GDPR compliant? And the answer is definitely yes. On our website, we can have a link on how the GDPR rules apply to us. If anybody wonders what GDPR is, it's a fairly strict privacy set of laws written up in Europe. And I think it came out in 2018, 2020. So a lot of the US entities often will reference it. As if you're GDPR compliant, then you're good to go. So yes, we are. Another question that came up was, does the BioStation 3 use Q-Phase Pro-AM module? I do not know the answer to that. So I will say that we do make all of our product in-house in Korea. So I mentioned NDA compliant. So all of our control panels, readers, our BioStation 3, they're all made in our factories. So designed and built in South Korea. So another question that came up is, how can an integrator get the product? So that is a great question. Our solutions are readily available in our main distribution partners. So we just kind of reach out to me or your local RSM for Suprema, contact us, and we can direct you to your options to get product. And keep in mind, all of our product is in stock and shipping. If our distribution partner doesn't have it in one of their hubs, then we will have it in our warehouse in Texas. And it usually goes at an extra 2 days maybe to get it to you. So 3 to 4 days. And if we ever run out, we have a big run on a specific product, then typically it's 9 days out of Korea. But we have not had the supply chain challenges that a lot of folks have faced. Another great question. Does the BioStation need shielding from direct sunlight? So technically, no, but in our directions, they do suggest not installing it in direct sunlight. So it is an LCD screen, and they can, over time, take UV damage. We suggest getting a hood. We're actually designing one for the US right now to provide that as an option for you guys. So someone else asked, why would you use the BioStation 3 versus maybe its big brother, the FaceStation F2? There's 3 main reasons you would want to use the BioStation 3. And then there's a good reason to use its big brother, the FaceStation F2. So the F2 looks very similar, but tablet-sized. So the main reason I would use that one initially is, first off, it has a larger screen. So when you're approaching it, let's say on a turnstile, you can see your face much more advanced, and it puts a box around it. So for alignment of face, it's a bit better, right? Secondly, I keep the FaceStation F2, its big brother, with a fingerprint module attached. So that would give someone dual modality or dual factor, or 2 options for biometrics on that one device. That'd be the reason for FaceStation F2. For the BioStation 3, price, it's smaller, and it has a couple of features like SIP intercom that give it a bit of a lift over the FaceStation F2. Another question. Thank you, sir. Someone's asking a little bit more detail on the BioStation 3 and using our software to manage the doors, because it is a security risk to wire that panel or to wire the door relay directly off of a device outside the door, right, on the insecure side. So I showed an image of a secure IO. I'll actually go back a second. This one on the right, this is going to be RS-45, this image of the BioStation 3 going to secure IO on the inside, and that's where you manage your relays, so people from the outside can't get to them. That's a very good question. So someone's clearly an installer. All right, so I think my time is about up unless there's any more questions. One more question. Okay, so interesting. So this is another quick question. I didn't even touch upon this at all. So Suprema actually has three offerings in our software, and it's going to be biometric management or user management, access control, and then time and attendance. So someone's asking about time and attendance function. So yeah, if you saw in the picture, let me see if I can get to it clearly. These are all with a face on them. There it is. So on the right, you can see an icon already pre-built into it with time and attendance functionality built into the unit. So depending how you have it set up, I can assign it to different jobs. I can go on breaks. I can do all kinds of things to that time and attendance icon. But we have a whole functionality, which I won't go into too detail here, but definitely get back with me afterwards. We can talk about time and attendance. Okay, I think I'll go ahead and wrap up if there's any more questions. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and go. And I appreciate everybody for joining us on our first technology seminar. And you all have a great weekend. Thank you.